What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to Jackal Gold Kick Games. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about video game series with the best soundtrack and OST. So this isn't going to be like any particular order, what's the best of the best, nothing like that. Just me talking about the video game series that I think have like the best soundtracks. So the first series I'll talk about is Legacy of Kain. I think Legacy of Kain has really good music in a lot of the games. It's great. It sounds awesome. One of the games that really stands out with a nice soundtrack is the first one, Legacy of Kain, Blood Omen 1. Some really great music in that one, especially when you leave outside the areas. The music that plays is really nice. Music that plays when you're going after the guy that created the puppets or whatever his name is. The music that plays there is great. There's a lot of great music in that game. A lot of great music in the other games. I remember there was some good music in like the main menu of Soul Reaver 2. Just a lot of really good music in that series. So that's one I wanted to mention that I think had really good music was Legacy of Kain. Very gothic type music fits that series a lot. Another game series I think has really good music is Fallout, especially Fallout 3. Now I only played Fallout 3, Fallout 4, and Fallout New Vegas. So I'm really probably only going to mention like Fallout 3 and New Vegas, but I think Fallout 3 had a really good soundtrack. I think the songs that played in the Pip-Boy radio were really good. A lot of good songs there. A lot of the in-game battle music was really good as well and stood out, especially one of the creepy songs that plays in certain areas. I think it had a good soundtrack. I remember Fallout New Vegas having a good soundtrack as well, and that had Fallout New Vegas had a really good soundtrack too and had some good songs, especially that one song that plays when you go in like the one camp that got abandoned and all the NCR troops are ghouls. It's a very horror-like area. Some creepy music plays there that's really good. So that game had really good music as well. Some nice creepy music in there too. So yeah, I think Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas has some good music. Fallout 4, can't say I remember any music from that one. So I'd say Fallout 3 and New Vegas are the ones that have the best music. So another game series that I think had really good music is Gears of War. I think the Gears of War games had really good music, especially the first three. They had like the best soundtrack. The music that played in the Gears of War 2 menu was phenomenal. A lot of the music that plays in the campaign is great. Same thing with Gears of War 1, some great music in that one. Same thing with Gears of War 3, some great music in that one. Gears of War series had really good music and it fit the franchise a lot, and you just had some really cool, memorable songs in the Gears of War games. Best song is definitely the Gears of War 2 main menu. It's very memorable and pretty awesome. So yeah, the Gears of War series, that's another game series that has a really good soundtrack. Another game series that had has good soundtrack and OSTs, and this goes for a lot of the games. The GTA series, whether it's GTA Vice City, San Andreas, GTA 5, they have really good music in it, mainly like songs from artists they use. They pick a lot of good songs. They have a good amount of radio stations with songs. I would have said GTA 3, but I just don't remember that one as much or the music in it as much. So, but I guess I could throw it in there as well. But a lot of the GTA games did have good music and they did have good songs. And I felt like San Andreas had a great soundtrack with the radio stations. And, same thing with Vice City. Same thing with GTA 5. And yeah, they had a lot of good, really good music on the radio and it really fit the games a lot. So I like the music in the GTA games. That's another choice. Another choice for a game series with good soundtrack would be the Def Jam games, mainly Def Jam Vendetta and Def Jam Fight for New York. Def Jam Vendetta and Def Jam Fight for New York have really good songs as well. Kind of similar to GTA, where they just pick like songs from artists. And but I think some of the songs may have been made exclusive for the game. I think at least the rapper Comp. I could be wrong on that. A lot of the music was good for the Def Jam games, Def Jam Vendetta and Def Jam Fight for New York. A lot of good songs for rappers and really good soundtracks there. I liked the songs for the games. A lot of memorable ones, a lot of really good ones, just a lot of really good ones. So like the Def Jam games, the first two have some really good music too. Another series. Now, this one I'm picking is not a game series I'm a fan of. I could just never get into it because I'm just not really into JRPGs and stuff. But I will say it has a good soundtrack. Final Fantasy. Again, not a fan of this game series, but it does have a really good soundtrack. And it does have really good music, especially Final Fantasy 7 and 10. They had some really good songs in there. They had really good soundtracks, very memorable songs. Sephiroth's theme in Final Fantasy, theme in Final Fantasy 7 is really good. Yeah, there was a lot of good music in that series. Even Final Fantasy 13 has some good music. They definitely know how to compose some good music. So even though I'm not a fan of the series, that is something I do like from the series that I will say is a good thing. So that's another game series that has a good soundtrack. Another game series with a good soundtrack is Silent Hill. Silent Hill has a great soundtrack through its game series. My favorite one that has the best soundtrack is definitely Silent Hill 2. I like that game's soundtrack the most, just sounds the best. Love a lot of the songs in that one. A lot of creepy ones, a lot of ones that fit the game. The soundtrack for Silent Hill 1 is good, the one for 3 is good, the one for Homecoming is good. A lot of the Silent Hill games had good soundtrack, and yeah, the soundtrack and music was composed really well for the Silent Hill games, and I liked a lot of them. And it really fit the games and fit the horror aesthetic, and they had a good music composer for that series. I believe his name is Akira something. I don't know his last name, but he did a great job. So Silent Hill, that's another series with good soundtrack. Another good game series with a good soundtrack is Dead Rising. More specifically, the first two Dead Rising games. The first two Dead Rising games have really good soundtrack. A lot of good rock songs I picked for Dead Rising. One for a lot of the boss themes, memorable ones like Cliff. The other one for the cult leader was really cool. The music for Brock could be cool. There was a lot of really good music in Dead Rising 1. One of my favorite original composed song in that game is the music that plays when you're escorting Isabella back to the safe house after she got shot by Carlito. That's my favorite song in the game. There's a part of it that kind of reminds me of old school Resident Evil. Dead Rising 1 has great music. Dead Rising 2 has great music. Love a lot of the songs in there. One of my favorites is the one that plays when you fight the magicians from Cell Dweller. Switchback, that's a great song. I love the music that plays when you fight Seymour. There's just so much good music in the first two Dead Rising games, and a lot of the themes they picked fits a lot of the bosses. Don't remember much of the soundtrack from Dead Rising 4. It was very forgettable. The only song I like from Dead Rising 4 is like this mall theme that plays where it's like I don't know what it's called, but it's the only song in the game I like. And there's parts of the theme that plays when you fight. I don't even know what his name is. I forgot, but the villain that's like balding, he has kind of a decent theme. But for the most part, the music in that game was forgettable. I think there's only one song I liked in Dead Rising 3. And then there's an unreleased song they used, which was like a slappy song. It sounded pretty creepy. It's a damn shame they never used it. But for the most part, every Dead Rising game after the first two, with the exception of, I mean, Case Zero, I forgot about Case Zero. Case Zero had a really good song. I love Jed's theme. It's awesome. It has a good guitar riff. I like Jed's theme a lot. It really fits well. Case West had good music, especially the final boss you fight. But every Dead Rising game past 1 and 2, Case West and Case Zero and Off the Record, not really any good music. Off the Record had some good new music though, like when you fight Stacy, great boss battle music. So yeah, the Dead Rising series, that's another series that has good music. Another game series that has really good music is Resident Evil. Resident Evil is probably one of the most popular and I would say successful game series with a soundtrack. Now, some of the newer games have kind of shied away from it, which I think is a shame. That's one of the issues I have with a lot of the newer games, even like RE2 Remake, unless you get the original soundtrack. I think Resident Evil does have a good soundtrack. They have in a lot of games, like the old school Resident Evil games, like Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3, Code Veronica. Resident Evil 4 has a great soundtrack. I love Sadler's theme. It's my favorite theme from that game. It sounds so awesome when you fight him, the music that plays. Revelations 1 and 2 has some good music. The Resident Evil series has like really good music and I like it a lot. Even kind of the little remix and spin they did on some of the Resident Evil 3 music you hear in RE3 remake is really good. I think the Resident Evil series definitely has really good music and has a good soundtrack, a lot of memorable stuff. A lot of the music they made really fits the levels and fits the games a lot. And I just miss when stuff like that was something more important that they put in the game. So yeah, Resident Evil is another series that has a good soundtrack. A lot of the games. Another series that has a good soundtrack is Warriors Orochi. Warriors Orochi 1, 2, 3, and even 4, even though that's like my least favorite, because that was the first Warriors game I dropped eventually, which never happened before the Warriors game. But all the Warriors Orochi games do have good songs, and they do have good soundtracks. They're basically like mixtures of Dynasty Warriors and Samurai Warriors songs, and also some new stuff. And then there's some remixes of songs. There's a lot of good music in the Warriors Orochi series. A lot of awesome songs I can play on stages. A lot of good variety of music. Warriors Orochi 4 has some cool stuff. One of my favorite themes that I can remember from Warriors Orochi would be the third game. Orochi X's theme is so fucking cool. Really fits the character so well, and it feels like a final battle type ending thing. That's a really good song. So yeah, Warriors Orochi. has a really good soundtrack. All the games, great. Another game series that I think has a good soundtrack is the Samurai Warriors series. Now, I haven't played the third one, but Samurai Warriors 1, 2, 4, and Spirit of Sanada, and even Samurai Warriors 5, kinda, if I can remember some of the songs. The series had good music. A lot of the games, a lot of the music in Samurai Warriors 1 really fit the stages. They stood out, they were unique. I like how with Warriors Orochi and Samurai Warriors in the next series I'm going to mention, it's like the music, there was a certain song that fit each stage you could remember. Like, oh, this is the Battle of Hanoji. This is the Battle of Kwakaka Najima. I don't know if I can say it right. I probably butchered it. Or this is the battle where of Asuchi Castle. There's memorable music there. Samurai Warriors 2 had memorable music. One of the standouts was the Anagawa theme. There was a lot of memorable music in Samurai Warriors 4. Remember there being some good music in Samurai Warriors 5. And then there was a really good song in Samurai Warriors Spirit of Sonnet. I like their remix of let's say like an updated version of um Mitsuhara, the stage where Shingen and Ieyasu face off. I love the version of Spirit of Sonata. It's great. So yeah, Samurai Warriors has a really good soundtrack, and I like it a lot. So that's another series with a solid soundtrack. Another game series, this is the last one I'll mention that has a really good soundtrack, is Dynasty Warriors. Dynasty Warriors has a phenomenal soundtrack, a lot of good songs. Dynasty Warriors 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They don't really miss that much. There's good music in mostly all the games. I haven't played Dynasty Warriors 9, and I haven't played a whole lot of like the spin-off Strike Force, but there's really good music in the games. Personally, my favorite soundtrack would be Dynasty Warriors 4. That has my favorite soundtrack just because it's the most gritty, most hardcore rock type, and it's just really good, honestly. And that was like the darkest game in the series, but the music in the other games is really good too. I think Dynasty Warriors 6 has a really good soundtrack. There's a lot of great songs in there, especially the Heifei Castle theme is really good as well. And much like Samurai Warriors, like I said, I like how there's certain songs exclusive to certain stages, like the Chibi music, the Heifei Castle music, the Wuzhang Plains music. The Wuzhang Plains, that had like one of the best songs you would hear in a lot of the games. The Dynasty Warriors 3 version, the Dynasty Warriors 4 version, the Dynasty Warriors 5 version. Just great stage. It had great music behind it. I think DW5 had my favorite Wuzhang Plains, so I can't remember which force it was. And then I really liked, Yiling music for I think it's the Shoe side in DW3. It sounds really cool. Just a lot of good music in the Dynasty Warrior series. So that's another series that has great music and just awesome songs. So yeah, that's really it for this list about some game series that I think have like the best soundtracks and the best OST. Just what I think are game series that stand out to me that have like the best songs and the best music composed. That's really it for this video. Let me know in the comments what you think are the best video games that have like the best video games with the best soundtracks. Let me know what your choices would be. But that's it for this video. Peace out.